Welcome back to the Britannia Coin Company. We're a coin dealer based in Royal Wootton Bassett in the UK. In today's video we're going to be looking at a very rare and valuable coin which is fascinating in its own right. That is the Ansell Sovereign. Before we look at that particular coin though, let's look at the Sovereign in more general terms. Today the Sovereign is one of the world's most recognisable and sought after coins. It was a coin that was used in circulation at the height of the British Empire and could be used around the world. This legacy of success and desirability has held firm up to the present day, remaining as the Royal Mint's flagship coin. Over 500 years ago, when the first sovereign was authorised in the reign of King Henry VII, it wasn't the roaring success of the modern sovereign. There had been gold coins circulating for over a century, but the new sovereign was the largest and most valuable coin minted at the time, and thus it didn't really have practical use. The coin did though project the power and stability of King Henry VII's reign after the turmoil before and after the War of the Roses. The sovereign which we know today was created in 1817. It took the name of the denomination from the historic English gold sovereigns of the past. The denomination was settled on after the defeat of Napoleon and a review of the national currency. This is the first time that we see Benedetto Pistrucci's George and the Dragon design on the coin. Although some tweaks would be made to the design over time, his work is still seen on the sovereigns of today. The coin is then used as a circulating coin and accepted across the British Empire, and became one of the chief coins of the world. The outbreak of the First World War ended the viability of having a gold coin in circulation, but despite being withdrawn, the demand for sovereigns across the world didn't fade. Although branch mints across the empire did produce some sovereigns after the First World War, and some were also minted to mark significant occasions, the Royal Mint wouldn't return to regularly releasing the coin again until 1979, when proof and bullion sovereigns began to be issued each year. So now we know about the sovereign in more broader terms, and the importance of the coin. What about the Ansell Sovereign then? Well, here it is. Now, there were just over 1.5 million sovereigns struck in this year for use in circulation, but this one is a variety which is called the Ansell Sovereign, and that holds quite the premium. So why is that then? The Royal Mint had received a shipment of gold from New South Wales, Australia, which had rich fields of gold. Unfortunately, this gold proved to be too brittle after having been annealed, meaning that the coins could have been broken by hand. The impurities in the gold was a real issue because the Royal Mint was still building its reputation for trustworthy excellence across the world. They couldn't have crumbly coins. Enter George Ansell, who at the time was a chemist working for the Royal Mint, and he was given the opportunity to experiment with the gold. If he couldn't figure out how to make the precious metal viable, it would have to be sent back to the Bank of England. Part of what he found was that if the gold was annealed suddenly by being plunged into cold water quickly, rather than gradually, which was the usual process then the blanks which would later become coins were very tough. This meant that 167,539 sovereigns could be minted from that shipment of Australian gold, and the Royal Mint was so happy with his work they gave him a £100 bonus, which in today's money would be around £10,000. What sets this coin apart from the others minted in the same year is the tiny detail on the ribbon behind the ear of Queen Victoria. This is usually one band, but on the Ansell Sovereigns there is the extra raised line, possibly added so the Royal Mint could track these coins and see how they fared in circulation. It is a very delicate and minor change in the detail that you have to take care when identifying, especially as this variant has quite the premium over others issued in the same year and time period. Although there was quite the number of them produced, very few survive to this day, with reportedly up to maybe 25 examples still accounted for, making this a real rarity to come up for sale. Although the Ansell Sovereign is a really valuable variation, there are plenty of other slight tweaks to sovereigns to look out for. This, for example, is an 1886 sovereign, again featuring the artwork of Benedetto Pistrucci to the reverse, but when we look at the obverse or head side of the coin, this is where the devil is in the detail. Below the portrait of Queen Victoria, you can see the small letter M. This identifies where this coin was struck, in this case the Melbourne Mint in Australia. At the height of the British Empire, to keep up with the demand for coinage, there were branch mints set up across the world to mint coins for the wider empire. In Australia, there were 3 different branch mints in Melbourne, Sydney and Perth. And although the Sydney Mint closed down in 1926, the other 2 sites remain open minting coins to this day. Outside of Australia, there were also other branch mints, including Ottawa, which is now the Royal Canadian Mint, Pretoria in South Africa, which still makes coins as well, and the Bombay Mint in India. Sovereigns which were minted at these different branch mints add some real variety to those collecting the denomination. There are even slight design changes on modern sovereigns as well, which you might not see initially. This one, for instance, was minted in 2021 and it has a tiny crown to the left of the year, and this was done to mark the 95th birthday of Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Although you can't see it on this coin, there is also 95 grooves in the rim of the coin as well, one for each year of the then Queen's age. This coin was struck in addition to the standard sovereigns without the privy marks, and of this variant just 7,995 were struck. One bit of detail you might also spot are the letters B and P to the right of the design. Now this isn't a special privy mark, it is simply the initials of Benedetto Pestrucci, who, as we have said, designed the iconic George and the Dragon design. Now there is a difference between a mint mark and a privy mark. For instance, this is a 2022 50p coin with a privy mark. If you look at the bottom band with the wording 50p, then to the far right of that band is a little star. This signifies that this is the 2022 Tooth Fairy 50p, one which was minted for the Tooth Fairy to give to children who have lost a tooth. A rather expensive way to give a child 50p, but I guess younger collectors would really cherish this being delivered by the Tooth Fairy. This is unlike a mint mark, like the M that we saw on that sovereign earlier in the video, because that mint mark tells you where the coin was struck, whereas this privy mark is just a change in the design. We're not used to seeing mint marks on our current UK change, as since decimalisation, all of our UK coinage has been struck at the Royal Mint headquarters in Llantrisant, South Wales. But in countries like Germany or India, where there are numerous mints, it's a really handy tool to identify where the coins were struck and can be useful when checking that the coins are all meeting specifications and standards. And if some issues arise, then it's useful knowing which mint is responsible and need to get the issue sorted out. It also could be to break up monopolies in the minting of a country's coins so that there is fair competition in the market, delivering the best value for governments but also reasonable prices for collectors as well. It could also be like in the USA, where there is such a huge population that having one site just wouldn't be feasible to mint all the coins for circulation and collectors alike. Sometimes mint and privy marks can add some real value to coins. It just takes a bit of research into how many were made or survive to this day, so much like the Ansell Sovereign, you'll want to see what variants of your coins are out there. You might see some mint marks on your historic English coinage though. Before the Royal Mint centralised at the Tower of London, there were lots of mints scattered across the country, and during different time periods, other mints have minted historical English coins. Of course, the sovereign is a hot topic at the moment, given that the first sovereigns to be minted bearing the portrait of our new monarch, King Charles III, have started arriving after somewhat of a delay. The portrait on the coin was designed by Martin Jennings and is the same portrait we have started to see in circulation on the Queen Elizabeth II Memorial 50p, and will continue to be minted onto our coins for collectors and circulation alike, and so over the years will become a very familiar sight. The reverse of this coin was created by acclaimed coin designer Jody Clark, the man who also designed the fifth and final portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, which was used on our coins since 2015. His design features the royal arms in a stunning image that is really eye-catching. Given the pairing of a beautifully designed coin and the fact that it's the first sovereign of King Charles III's reign, is sure to make it a really sought after coin in years to come, and they're being snapped up by collectors at quite the pace. Well, there we go, we've looked at some really lovely sovereigns in today's video, from modern ones, mint marked, privy marked, and of course that beautiful Ansell Sovereign. It's amazing to see the variance in this highly respected and desirable denomination. If you want more information about the Ansell Sovereign, there are links links in the description of this video across to a blog article that's up on our website. There will also be links to the other coins we featured in today's video if you'd like to take a look or purchase them for yourself. Be sure as well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's free to do and it means you won't miss out on any of our future uploads. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram, where you'll see us post lots of pictures of our coins. We're on Twitter and TikTok. We have our shop and online store, and I'll see you next time for more amazing coins from the Britannia Coin Company.